Hi there. Today I'm reviewing my Ibanez Prestige S5470-SOL from 2008. But first, here's a little demo track for you. All right, so this guitar is this S-Series Sabre model, as they call it a lot. That actually, this model was from 2008. They made the 5470 up until 2013 before it changed into a different model. But the important note is that in 2008 was the first year that they started putting 24 frets on these guitars, on the S series, because before that there were only 22 frets. And that was kind of like my deterrent from owning one prior, because I always wanted the 24 frets, just like the RG series. But in 2008 they finally changed it to the 24 fret. So I'd gotten this one actually in a trade not long ago. I actually traded Jackson Japanese RR24 for this guitar. Now, a lot of people are going to say the Jacksons are worth quite a bit, but the interesting thing is that I actually had bought one brand new around the same time as this guitar came out in 2008, and the retail price on the Jackson was $14.99. And I still had to buy a molded case with this, whereas this guitar back then, and it's interesting, I actually still have the tag that when I made the trade, and if you see it here, that this guitar was almost $2,100, and it came with a case. So this guitar had a little bit more value, and in that trade, the guy actually gave me a second Ibanez that I ended up selling for like $700. So this was actually a good score for me, because I really wanted one of these guitars, because before this, I'd actually had an S470 that I played for a number of years that I actually really liked, but the thing about it is it only had the 22 frets. So I was really glad when they went to 24 frets. I did use that guitar quite a bit, and I got rid of it after about 6-7 years. Ended up making trades and whatnot. But anyway, one thing I really liked about that guitar and this guitar is that I really like the ZR, which is right here, the ZR trem system. And I really find it really stable, really good for doing a lot of dive bombs and whatnot, and really good tuning stability, especially using the whammy bar. Now, the only thing in the trade with this one, I can't find my whammy bar. Somehow I misplaced the proper whammy bar, and I had actually gotten this one. I had ordered it off of eBay because for some reason it's really tight in there, and I think it's because the prior owner of this guitar, I can't even get the damn thing out now, had stuck something in there to make it more of like a in and out push pull kind of a bar. I can't even get this one out now. Great. So That bar actually goes in and out really nice, but somehow I've misplaced that bar. Tried to use this one and jammed it in there, and I'm having a hard time getting it out. But this one is a little worn. Whoever owned this guitar before me actually played this guitar really well. It's got a bit of wear to it, a little bit of fret wear, but this guitar was definitely well loved. So I'd really enjoy a guitar that's well played and that stands the test of time. You know, it'll play well and take a beating. So that's really good. And of course, this has the original Wizard neck. I really like how flat, if I can see it here, how flat the necks are on these. It's really good for shredding. It's really got a really flat radius, 17-inch fretboard radius. So it's really flat. I really enjoy that. And then the pickups in this guitar, now it's really interesting is that especially the bridge pickup's got the long bar here. And a lot of people keep asking me when they see me playing this guitar at like gigs and whatnot, they're like, hey, are those John Petrucci pickups? And actually they're not. They're actually Ibanez branded pickups. They were called the Hot Grinder 2, Hot Grinder 1, and then the middle, they called it the Short Tracer pickup. And the hard thing is I can't really find a lot of information on these pickups online. I've tried to find specs when I know they're ceramic pickups. They're really high output. That's one thing. They have a lot of gain, a lot of high output, a lot of presence. So I've jammed with this quite a bit. I've played live with it a few times, and even my bandmates have said they like this guitar. They really like the tone of it, and I think it's because of the presence to these pickups. It really cuts through the mix. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of the neck pickup. Actually, in another guitar, I actually have the deactivator as a neck pickup, and I actually liked it a little bit better than this one, or even my PAF Pro over this. But I really do like the bridge pickup in this, and I'm trying to find more information, and I can't. So the only thing I can kind of think is that it's going to be something similar to a DiMarzio D-Sonic that they had. John Petrucci did use the D-Sonic before he came out with his Crunch Lab bridge pickup. So I'm thinking, especially with the single bar, I'm thinking it's probably based on that. So that's why I'm probably going to see if that D-Sonic is going to be similar and put it in one of my other Ibanez, one of my RGs, to see if I get a really similar tone. And then I think I might switch out this neck pickup to a deactivator, because I do like a lot of output and a lot less bass on my neck pickup, because I really like to sing with the really smooth solos, right? Especially legato. So I think that's one thing I'll probably end up doing. And of course, being the S series, I really like how thin this body is. I find it extremely comfortable, especially playing live. And I don't like guitars that are too heavy and guitars are too light. And I like how this guitar is like right in the middle. I think it's maybe around 7.5 pounds total. And of course, this guitar has the mahogany body. Now, this came out with a bunch of other finishes between 08 and 13, and they're hard to find. Usually the common one is like a dark brown one, like a dark transparent brown. I've seen other people with that specific one. And I think this one, they call this the SOL, the stained oil mahogany. I think this was only out the first, maybe into the second year, and that was it. After that, they had like the black and the red and the blue. And those ones, they're hard to find. I know that Chris Broderick, before he had switched to Jackson Guitars, he had his custom shop RGA that he was using, but he actually had a red one of these that he used as his backup. That was the red one, and that he had gotten it painted back over, had a Megadeth written on it and stuff. But the one thing he noticed, he really liked the trem system on it, especially for a backup guitar. He thought, and I think his RGA might have had this actual ZR2 with the ball bearing pivot, just really good tuning stability. So I think he was really into that guitar before he went through the Jackson. And of course, Jackson just used the, the original Floyd Roses on his signature models. But anyway, so another part of the reason why I really wanted one of these, and kind of the reason why I'd got my S470 is that I was a big fan of Alex Skolnick back in the 80s. And he had the early version Red Sabre that I believe was a 540p, they called it back then, just the Sabre. Before they started calling it an S series. And I believe and his has, the 22 fret, and he played that up from the New Order up until Souls of Black. And then I think he started going to playing RGs, maybe because they didn't have 24 frets. I don't know. But another guy that started, and the thing about these guitars, they're not really all that popular, the S series. And it kind of surprises me. You think they'd be more popular. But they're not. Not a lot of major players have played these. I did know that back in the day, I remember seeing, probably with the Sabre series, was a guitar player, Rick Hunold in Exodus. I saw him playing one of these in a video. But then later on, Herman Lee of Dragon Force had one of the 22 fretters that he really liked, and he played that one. He was well known, and that was how his signature model came out with that, which is around the same time as this model came out. So maybe he might have had an influence to the 24 frets. It's always something popular to have the 24, so maybe he had an influence in that. I don't know. And then as of late, notably Nita Strauss of Alice Cooper, she used to be in the Iron Maidens, and I think she was playing with Demi Lovato for the last while, and now she's back with Alice Cooper. She's got a signature model of an S series, and I'm really curious. I'd really like to get my hands on one of them and try one of those out, because I'd want to see how her version of it differs from off the shelf kind of S series. Otherwise, this one is beaten a little bit, a little worn. One of the holes here for the trem to adjust it is stripped. I can't even adjust the trem on one side of it. And of course, there's a lot of nicks and little dings and stuff. And at some point, I would definitely like to get a new Prestige version of this. I believe now they're the 6570. But unfortunately, they don't have really much for finishes. I think they got a blue and a transparent, sunburst kind of thing. So I kind of wish they had some sort of red or black transparent. But what they do have now is they do have the binding around the neck and the headstock, is something I wish they had more on these kind of guitars. Even my S470 didn't have the binding, and I wish it had. But anyway, but otherwise, playability wise, the guitar really sings. It really screams really good. In the demo there, I used a Roland chorus. I think it's called a Roland Super Chorus for the clean tones, which I used it sort of blending both the single coil and one of the coils off the neck pickup. And then I'm using a 5150 amp sim for the distorted tones. And then, of course, the first part, I used the neck pickup. The second part, I used the bridge pickup. So the only thing is I'm not the biggest fan of this neck pickup. But the bridge pickup, wow, this thing sings. But otherwise, great guitar. Definitely would recommend if you can find these, especially on the used market. Lately, I've been seeing these jump anywhere between $1,000 to $1,200, normally out of Canada. I wish I could find one in Canada closer to home, just because, duty and we're not paying, get anything over the border is a lot of money nowadays. So I wish I could find one locally. And if I do, I might pick it up. Otherwise, I might have to spend the money at some point and get a new Prestige S6570 is what they are now. But otherwise, great guitar. Has sort of become my main live guitar in the last while. Was my backup. Now it's kind of become my main guitar. But of course, like I said, got to change this neck pickup. It's getting a little worn. And yeah, great guitar. That's my review for today, as I'm hitting stuff. So anyway, till next time, take care. Shred on. Rock on.